How do we truly understand ourselves? How do we get to know ourselves inside? It's all levels of measure, scale, and balance. But how do we understand that if we don't understand who we are? Well, it's about identifying your self-awareness of who you are. You're self-aware of you. Well, what does that mean? It means that I'm self-aware I'm wearing a watch, self-aware I'm wearing a t-shirt, and I'm self-aware of everything around me. So if I'm self-aware of everything, that means I should be consciously aware of everything that's going on all at once, in seconds, minutes, and hours, minutes, and seconds. So that puts you in a setting of balance alone. So it's important to understand how this all works. It's a formation location of balance. It's all levels of balancing acts. And you guys get constantly being tested to know exactly what you're up against. It's you up against you. So being self-aware is getting into a higher level setting to know exactly, we got into that process of controlling our settings of our thoughts, and our thoughts control our actions, and our actions control our emotions. Well, your thoughts are not your thoughts. It's being self-aware of a thought and realizing you have to build a relationship and a partnership of its thought because it's in its own self-awareness. It's in its own self-consciousness. So if you understand that, then you have a better collaboration with everything around you before you come into nothingness to something to everything. Because that's how life is. That's the meaning of life of you, not the meaning of life. It's too complicated to understand what this is and what that is and that and that and that and that. It's you. You focus on yourself. You really get to understand the friendship, relationship, and the partnership with yourself first, not everything around you. But this is the kicker. Everything around you is self-aware of who you are right away, whether you don't understand that or not, but it's extremely aware because it's already been through its time. It's already been through its alignment. Okay? It's already been through its travel, right? So it's for you to understand its self-awareness, of its awareness, of consciousness. Okay? And then you come into its identity, its purpose, and its existence. Okay? The existence and why we have phones. What does a phone do? Well, what is its importance? Every time I'm touching it, right, it's giving me data. So that data alone is giving me exactly what I need to understand of its data. It's giving me instructions how to do this and do that. You guys didn't know that. It's a constant data that you're coming back to of its awareness of consciousness, self-awareness, realizing the actual phone is giving you that. You are not getting the information. The information is given through the phone. So the phone is giving you data codes. It's giving you instructions how to pick up the phone and what you want to do, how to use your passwords, how to do this, how to see this, how to see that. That's what your phone is doing on a daily basis. Daily basis. Same signal, different frequencies, but there's no correlation to the day, month, and year. The existence of everything is existence of nothing. Everything in your phone is all memories of nothing, but all memories of everything all at once. So your phones are all timelines all at once. So if my phone is all timelines all at once, so I should understand the process of its data that's given to me through instructions to know exactly how to hold it in my left or how to hold it in my right. So that alone is giving me data. Now it's giving me more data. Now it's showing me exactly what I can do through movement. So it's showing me exactly what I can do. New instructions. Oh, new instructions. Oh, new instructions. So everything that's given to me is process of data coming back to me through memory. So it's really powerful when you have this in setting, right? So the actual set location is already set up in the mind. The mind's the concept of memory, which is already instructions. So I already see the outline. I already see this in program. I already see this in schematics. So I already see myself picking this up in my left and not my right. If I change it, it's another program. If I put it back, it's another program. Every second, every minute, every hour of the day. That day is a 24 cycle. So I can do this for 24 hours, right? But it's at different frequencies, different space, different time. Even though you see the same rhythm, doesn't matter, right? If I do this, different program. If I do this, different program. If I do this, different program. So it's constant program through data. And this is what the team has to get into. And then you realize it's its own self-awareness of its own awareness of its own consciousness of space and time, which is its own operation. That's how everything is self-aware of everything that you do. See, touch, and feel. So once we understand that, things get a lot more easier. That gets you a better understanding of what you're up against. Now, what you're up against is all levels of youth in the mind of travel. It's episodes, calculations, right? So everything around you is trying to help you out. Everything around you is giving you instructions. Okay, it's formulating, it's giving you a process. Because if you focus on the self-awareness of a digital pad, not only it will help you, not only it will guide you, but it will also show you in position. You can get manifestation abundance just from this, just by having a conversation with the digital pad alone, because you're self-aware of what it is. It's its own operation system. So how do I get abundance? How do I get manifestation? Just by having a conversation with the digital pad, just by having a conversation with my phone, just having a conversation with a coffee. That's how you get abundance. But you guys don't focus on that. You focus on everything else except everything around you. Not the fact that everything around you has its own self-awareness. And you spend yourself so much time in position working here, working here, working here, working here. Why would you want to overload your system rather than basically communicate with everything and get everything through abundance and manifestation just by having a conversation with a digital pad in a 4-set location? Hoo-ah. Okay? That is being consciously aware of everything. All right. Sunday Communication Line Centers, you guys have a test on Friday, so we're going to coordinate track lines. We're going to split lines of 4-track location. Direct lines of highest interference and panels, correlation line interference, travels. Point lines of track lines, center line inter rotation, center communication, sending high line interference with magnetic high position of programs. Direct calculation of clock lines, communication line center travel. Point lines of attractions, yin and yang, 1, 2, 1 line, 3 line rotation cycles. Giant screen lines, platforms of 1, 2, and track lines, travel line rotation, 3 line communication settings. Travel point lines of track lines, platforms of line, position of 3 lines of rotation cycles. Giant screen lines, sets position operation lines, energetic dome screens applications. Line condition interference, crop circle location, setting, travel position operation surface. Ooh, ah. Energy collaboration with the digital pad, right? So what you don't understand, general is receiving abundance, all from a digital pad. Why? Because I took time to understand what it is to its own self-awareness, have a conversation with the digital pad. How's your day going? How's it going? Where are you traveling from? Where are you going? It's great to connect with you. Conversation, 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 conversation. Coming back to awareness and consciousness of everything around you as self-awareness. That's what you have to come into in position. Okay? This is giving me abundance and manifestation. Do you understand that? No. Do you understand that? Yes. So, it's not just the digital pad itself. It's all track location to its square line setting, to its paper. As soon as I take my finger, whatever I use my finger on, how do I get the instructions? How do I get the instructions? From my hand? No. I'm touching the digital pad. So the digital pad is giving me instructions from my hand. My hand is giving me instructions of what I'm going to be doing through the mind. Okay? It's all coming together through energy and collaboration. If I do one signal line setting, everything is all put together all at once. All at once. Okay? And then you understand what you're doing in track location of balance and set location. Everything comes in platform. I'm communicating the digital pad. My digital pad is communicating with my hand. My hand is connecting to its holding system. And all position, all levels of the square line communication with digital pad set location. Platforms are 1, 2, and 3, and 4 track location. Setting lines of highest interference of a holographic setting. Track communication 1 track location. Sets communication lines of the sun, the moon, and track line interference, high distance calculation line, calculation setting, clock location. Ooh-ah. Bring it in the equation, right? Manifestation abundance. That's how you get position. To really understand the details that you need to understand through conversations of yourself and each other around you. Okay? Very powerful and also application. And then you just bring it forward. See? You bring it forward. You bring it forward. It moves by itself because you're self-aware, consciously aware how powerful you can be when you can do it through telekinesis in position to telepathy and calculation setting. See how it creates its own system? Because I'm taking time to understand what's going on. I'm taking time to basically see what's around me. I'm taking time to understand the observation and everything through its intent and everything through its influence of its manipulation. I'm taking time for myself to recognize me inside of who I am. Not what I do, who I am is what I can do. It's identifying you first. Okay? All right, so the test lines, the correlation lines of track interference, we're going to allocate position time frames. So the 3,000 line screen sets correlation of 3 patterns, line centers of 6,000 line screens. Let's coordinate the track interference of 3 panels, sets lines of 9, and 3 zeros of correlation lines and track lines of 12. All right, so that's lines of high calculation signing, high position operation. Now, panel communication line of 3 lines. So we had 3, 3, 3, sets location of 3, 3, 3, sets location of 3, 3, 3. And sets location of 3, 3, 3. So you got northwest, south, and east, and set location of 3, 3, 3. All right. Clock line centers comes in center position operation and flux. But you guys are in 2 panels of correlation lines of traction. Right. Now understand the indication lines of docking lines of south, east, west, and line calculating setting. Sets lines of communication. Now north comes position. Now, the correlation lines of track line, which is the highest information line screen in the line center location, is 3,000 clock line comes into its light bulb. Okay? Center core line interference, we had 3 lines of correlation lines of 1, 2, and 3 track location, past, present, future. Ooh-ah. Sets communication, slide cross down line into clustrum and set position. Intelligence. See the eyes? Boom. That's the intelligence. So set position, there's the intelligence. There it is. See the eyes? Boom. All right? So that opens up all line frequency lines of the brain line, frequency pattern line, correlation lines of track interference, and line positional location setting. Sets lines 144, line interference of 244 hemispheres, line position travel, communication point line, track interference, line positional calculating line interference, position travel, and track location. Ooh-ah. All right. So travel lines of recognition is a center core setting. Splits lines of center line in a center communication line that puts position location in the center of operation. Okay. Travel calculating high interference, line connecting high interference. Sets lines of ground line, crop circle lines, centers of 0, travel communication, center points, lines of traction. Okay, very powerful through intelligence, right? Now we formulate the lines. That's an energetic graph line, sets communication setting into its system location and center of travel. I know it's complicated, right? But you have to understand what you're coming into is all levels of facial recognition time sequence. There's the intelligence. Ooh-ah. Okay? All right, so we're going to send the core line setting and line center interference. Now, everybody that's in track location line conditions, all levels, and species is going to go through the outline rotations of their setting. We're going to interlock. We're going to interline. We're going to line position its calculations into inception, location, interface. Trap point line centers, spacing line will be outline, box line, and position lines, the team line will be inside location. 3-line correlation setting track lines and a 3-line split and set calculations, point lines, attractions. Pi generation screens, line position across lines into a solar sail and set position operation. Now, the wind factors lines of the sun sets position of the moon in the 3-track division, right? Solar calculation lines. Winds are picking up the center core setting and travel position operation line set location setting. Puts position on platforms of 1, 2, 3 in line setting 1, 2, 3 in line rotation and dimensional line communication. All right, so we're taking the box line right through the door line in sequence. All right. So team have fun. You're now in the brain center quarter. Right? Interception lines of correlation line setting is a tube. Sets correlation of track interference and position lines of face recognition time sequence. Puts all communications back in balance and set location. Ooh-ah. So it's intelligence within intelligence with intelligence at 333, right? All right, so team have fun. The brain line rotation interception. Now, the platform communication really understand how to allocate position timeframes. Puts all calculated and modified through 3 settings, 6 lines, 9 lines, and have 12. Memory set location lines of 3, 6, 9. Let's triangulate the lines of 3 programs, direct lines of 1 signal, and position location and setting. Now, the track position lines, so let's cross the lines of 3 and 6 and the lines of 9 and track location. Overrides. Set lines of communication to its position location setting. Travel calculates line center, on line rotation, surface, and track location. Now, direct lines of panels, we have the 1 lines of 2. We have 2 lines of triangulation, 2 lines of splits, flux capacitor, and a 3-line measure. Position of ground lines, operation line cycles, and generation screens, adaptation. Face recognition. Android. Okay. All right. So once you understand the position lines of face recognition timelines, everything comes in information, location, and setting. Okay. So if you look really close, you can see it's C3PO. Right now, you're hearing the voice, right? You got R2D2. All right. So the image line screen comes in all information to all calculations. Now, you guys are coming into center core line center, right? Position 124. Equals lines, communication lines, sending high interference of 48,000. Correlate the tracking interference into 244. Calculate the line screen high interference and track position all operation line cycles into 1,444,000 and trackification of 3 line cycles. And set calculation of Earth. Sets line communication of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and atmosphere line screens in a pyramid line rotations and center core system and track coordination lines and track lines high center interference and position line centers in a point line rotation in a 5-line measure into a flux capacitor 3 set location of center communication of operation. Ooh-ah. Okay. It's amazing what you can do through a 124 line screen, right? But it's 1 line of cycles, 2 lines of measures, and 4 lines of traction. 3 correlation line out interference has line signals. Now we allocate the 48,000 line platforms and 3-line communication to its position of travel. Okay, directs lines of high interference at 244. Now that's where the team is in position of hemispheres. 3-track division of 4-line cycle, 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 locations. That sets communication of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of grids. That's set calculations. Point lines of track lines. Sun comes in a high calculation. There's the sun. Moon comes in line signals into the 144 line screen, sets the location setting and brackets of interference in a 3-line split in a line setting in the opposite direction. Sets platforms in 1 line signal, platform communication lines of center of operation surface and set location of center calculation. Okay, all through traction, all through traction, all through traction. Okay, that's how it comes information, right? All right. So once you get in line signals, everything comes in information lines of grounds. Sets all communication settings and platforms. Grounds, powers, atmosphere. Okay. 3 face recognition time sequence. Okay, so once you understand that through plateau, your connections lines in your communication center interference puts lines in the calculation line interference. And this is where we come to X lines of 1, 2 and 1 line signals, line number 1 equals lines of D. D lines, line center lines of X equals lines of E. Splits lines anomalies equal location triangulation. It's all formula, it's all equation. But what does it all mean? Well, you have to understand the X line rotation, position of 2 panels, and correlation of the travels. Remember, it's the relationship and set location of self-awareness gets you in travels. Now, the equal-line coordinate and track lines in a 3-line provision. 3 lines of molecules, lines of design line and screens. Now that lines and D lines into 2-track location provision. Half-pipe lines, sets lines of communication in 1x(d)(1000) line rotation. 1,000 lines meters and line rotations 1 panels. Coordinates sit in 3 box location centers and travel position point centers. Done by equation. So what you want to do is you want to really get into the flux, into your 5-line screen, your satellite screen locations in your tracker system, how to line signal to 3,000, 6,000, 9,000, and 12,000 clocking, right? Center core setting, ground lines of operation 1, set lines of DX lines, slash line E lines equals lines of triangulation, split lines anomalies, sets an atom line rotation at center core setting. That's a center core setting. Sets communication lines of E, D, position of X in lines of 0 and rotation. Correlates the track lines into a solar sail and traction. Hoo-ah. That's my equation, right? Now, direct lines modification line screen sets lines of communication. Look really close. You can actually see the intelligence. face, body, set location, solar sail, right? All right, so directing lines of signals, everything formulates the line of calculation setting time. Time it interlines its coordinate setting. So we have motion lines as sensors, equal location line condition setting. High position track lines 333. Says communication lines of 333. Says communication lines of 333. Says communication lines of 333. All right, so we allocate timelines, splits the lines of 3 track locations. Sets lines of 4 and 5 set line conditions. So we add a 3-line cycle, atom line rotation, set lines of molecule, 1-line rotation, 3-line cycles, proton line communication, electron, 1-line cycle, direct lines of 3-line cycles, square units, sets lines of 3 calculation to 3 weathers, sets lines communication of 3 lines in percentage over pi, 6 calculation line inverse, 100-line communication setting, in point tracks of 1, 0, and trackification of 3-line cycles and generation set location setting. Now, direct line communication comes into the lines of splits, sets lines in half-pipe track locations, set lines of dimension, wormholes, and trackification line system and travel. Okay, done by equation. Center communication line setting is a center core setting. That's a plasma line wall and trackification. That puts position lines of centers in line calculation setting. Splits the nodes in a 3-3 track location of box. Sets correlation in the opposite direction setting and 3-line split in rotation surface and track location. Directs modification lines of center, operates the magnetic high wave information line and center core setting to the cerebral and position of its mystical and its correlation setting of its matrix, set location of core and line setting. Okay, sets communication system at face recognition time sequence and all line center interference of face recognition. Intelligence. All right, everything's information and intelligence. So that's what it is. It's about being self-aware of what you're looking at and why you're looking at these things. It's all about understanding its awareness of its consciousness that's helping you to understand its data. It doesn't need to understand you. You have to understand its data, okay? Because it's given to you through instructions. So let's go through a center communication. Calculus modified line center interference. That's you, traction, right? Center core line setting, high position power lines, magnetic high wave information line cycle. Direct lines, energy field, set locations, right? Now, your direct lines, here's the sun, communication line center, here's the moon, line rotation surface. Everything has a solar sail, trackification line center, circulation, rotation centers, and transition log calculations. Star set location, right? Star mechanism lines 1, 2, lines of 2, lines of 3, track location of 4, 5, line center 6, 7, line communication 8, line center, solar sail, and trackification. Okay, all through line setting. Data information lines of the ground line, center line, and high interference, sets position location calculation lines of Mother Earth and traction. Okay, Mother Earth, right? See, shoulder blades communication, right? Mother Earth. Boom. All right, so the center core line center is your universal line screen that allocates your time frame, position, operation line cycles. Generate the screen lines, allocate position line, motion lines of 1, center correlation lines of 2, and ground lines of high center interference of 0, point lines of 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, sets correlation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 set locations, crop circle line directions, and center communication setting of the program. Direct calculus line interference is center core setting, sets lines of a half pipe, line screen, line rotation, line surface, and cluster in set location. Directs modification line screen high interference, sets communication, and face recognition. Face recognition, right? So once you understand the cloud lines, you understand face recognition time. That puts all levels of timeless, shapeless, formless, motionless, and senseless. So everything's coming back to you in a formation location of 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? 12 line signals. Getting coordinate lines, ground lines, direct and redirect location settings. So you got 1, 2, line center high interference, but the 2's over here, 3's over here, 4's over here, and line center, let's add 6 over here. We can add another line 6 back in the line set 7, set locations back into 1, 1 lines of 3. Sets communication lines of 4, back in 5 line center interference of 6 location setting in position of DX line. So it's DX lines equal lines of D, position location of D, to position location of D, to position location of E, and calculation lines of E, and position location of F, and line position program. So you have to really understand how that works in line calculation setting. When you look at the communication surface, you can see the center core of its energetic dome screen is application of operation. Okay. So it's really identifying everything through flying mechanism, line condition, travel line, position, navigation, its console. It puts everything back in line rotation to its setting, okay? So operating the cycles really aligns center interference. So let's go through timelines. Let's go through frame lines of frequency and position line center interference into motion sensors, correlation setting, and motionless, timeless, shapeless, and formless, and all calculation locations, right? So it's endless, endless, endless possibilities, right? Effort becomes effortless. Time becomes timeless. Shape becomes shapeless. Form becomes formless. Motion becomes motionless. Senseless becomes senseless. So it's a formation location for you to understand how to use a 25-line cycle. Correlation lines are high position point lines attractions, and position lines of 10. That's out, okay, position 12. Change communication line centers of 22-line rotation. Standard correlation lines of 6 lines. Let's change that back into 8-line rotation surface. Now that correlates to track interference. That means the 22-line rotation is going to set line communication to 21, sets communication lines back to 23, sets communications back into lines of 24, sets communication back into 23, sets communication back into 22, sets communication line interference in time position. What are we at? Do you see that? It went to 22 and then went back to 23 into 6 position location calculation. All through my computer. All through my computer. Direct signal. What is it at now? 23. You see how everything's in chronological order? Because I'm self-aware. I break it down of its awareness of what its consciousness is and what it is through its operation. That's how you come into timeless, shapeless, and formless, emotional, and senseless. Because there's no formations of anything. So it's massive nothing, massive equation. So you're looking at the ocean, and all memory is all memory. Motionless and all position, location, and calculation setting. So it's no memory, all at once. And then you understand how it becomes into 23 of 6. So I'm in communication and energy collaboration with my computer now. My computer is now connected to my digital pad. My digital pad is connected to my hands. My hands are connected to everything. Mine. It's all levels of instructions. Now it's back to what? 24, 24, 6, 24, 6, 23, 6, 22, 6. So it's in order how you communicate through its self-awareness, through telepathy, through telekinesis, through telepathy. Okay? 24, 6. All through frame, right? And I did it without clocking. Now it's what? What is it at now? 25. See? 25, 6. Oh, the 6 disappeared. Look, the 6 disappeared. It's up here now. It disappeared. It was here. Now it's up here. How did it do that? Because it's consciously aware. The 6 was down there, guys. Now it's moved up here. Hooah. All right, so setting position of travel lines, point lines of attractions. Directing lines of communication is really understanding information. So it's really getting balanced with everything of its self-awareness to its awareness of its consciousness. And when everything's self-aware of you, you're self-aware of everything else. Now it's back at set location line settings, and all travels are what? What is an travel line communication setting, position line interference, high positional calculation line, and position location travels? Line setting high interference and all line rotations back in 26 location. 26. 26, 6. See? So the 6 was here, but it knew exactly where it had to be in order. So put that back in position, puts lines of calculation, 26 back in setting, all through operation. Hoo-ah, all through timing. All right? Timingless, shapeless, formless, locationless, effortless. Okay? That's information you guys have to come in interruptions. Hold on a second. Now, does everybody understand how powerful it is once you start recognizing your system and all calculation modification? How everything is communicating with you all at once? Do you understand the energy collaboration, how powerful it is, what you can have now? To understand that point, line, center, interference, high position of travels, all character modified, inline communication of timeless, shapeless, and formless, all through motionless and senseless. Right? Now it's added an equation, 25/7. 27. All right, so, you guys have to really pay attention to these things because I'm telling you right now, it's becoming more consciously aware of everything that you do, right? In position. Yeah, so that's all it is, guys. I mean, that's a true understanding that I'm holding this digital pad, but it's in its own operation. So having that energy of collaboration is everything because it's helping you understand. You have to understand because it's already in its operation. It's already done its travels. It's already done its equations. It's already done its codes. It's already done its formations. It's already done its alignments. It's for you to understand its data, all through instruction. All in this digital pad. It's all in here. So the mind, the frame line, has an inner line and it has an outer line, inner line, outer line. So it has position lines and location grid. So location line settings and positional levels. There's no difference in track location, line, center, interference. Track position lines in. Let's go lines of enter and exit. Enter, exit, right? So you're entering lines of E equals lines of E. Okay, formula equation. So you're always in instruction, but you're always in formula. Formula, equation, equation, formula. So you have to really understand how that works through travel. E equals E. Sets location line centers into collaboration. Calculation modification, right? So the collaboration is the communication in position at all calculation modification. E equals C. Okay. So once you understand that, then you add a circulation. So C equals lines. C equals lines of X, right? So it's line position location of X in set location. Okay. C equals lines of X. And you do that through circulation rotation, all through equation. It's all through communication. So that's what I want the team to get into. Species just has to get into their formulas, basic grounds. Center line communication line interference. Center core line setting and track lines of A. A line rotation. Remember, we've been through this before, line communications. 1 lines, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pi, right? Center line communication, right? Ground centers. Magnetic highway information line, right? Platforms, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Very simple, 45. But the track lines of the team line is going everywhere now in track location, right? Everywhere in track location. Everywhere in track location. Okay? So they're expanding their highways now in settings at all levels of track location. They're going into higher levels of highways, higher levels of expansion, higher levels of exploration, higher lines of communication, and longitude and latitude, and streamline communication to its position of its provocation to its system. That's what the team's coming into. Higher levels of expansion of the mind, further in position of the mind, right? So you're not going back, you're going forward. So even though you're in the eye line, it's going back, 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 back. And when I say back, I'm talking about beyond the mind. So you're not going back anywhere, you're going forward through time. And that time doesn't exist through time because there's no linear time. Time doesn't exist. So if time doesn't exist, I'm doing everything all at once. And once I understand that, then I understand the process, how we came in position location to a light bulb and the 3 circuit line screens of past, present, and its future in position of travel lines, all can modify in its communication of its intelligence. All through light bulb. All right, all through light bulb. Okay, through intelligence. Right. So what is light? Its own formation of its own self-awareness, guys. Has a correlation lines, set position location of antenna. Right? So what's your hair? Antenna. Now the formation line, screen line, allocates time frames. Now this is where it gets really interesting because it has its own flux. Sets position on all of the docking line screen. Sets position calculations. Check this out. Center coordinates line traction. Okay. Sets communication of box frame. And travel communication. Right? So it's a frame within a frame within a frame within a frame. Main frame, box frame. Main frame, box frame. It gets confusing, right? Main frame, box frame. Okay? And then you outline the communication box frame into files and correlation lines of traction. Hiring lines as communication lines as center. Sets communication lines as system and travel position operation. Sets communication lines as separation, but bringing it together in position operation. So there's a lot of things you can do in square roots and square pi and triangulation line settings of phase direction of time sequence that puts all levels of formation back in calculation. Another intelligence. So in-line rotation, two intelligence communication, different lines of different universe, different space, different time. Of its self-awareness through its awareness of its consciousness. See? All comes information. See? All right. So I hope everybody's having fun. Now we just have to understand how this all works in line settings. 3 truth narratives in a 3-box location, or line settings of a 2-box location. So let's go half line screen. There's a half line screen through a circle line rotation. So we got position lines. Remember, you can change the communications now when you go to higher levels of the mind because your Earth is now space and your space is Earth. When you go to higher correlations, so you have direct line connection on north, west, south, and east, and a 4-line split in communications, right? Direct line signals here, direct line signals here, direct line signals here, direct line signals here, or direct line signals here, or direct line signals here, all at once, right? Through a plasma screen in direct line connection setting into levels of cobwebbing and track location. So you set up cobwebbings and line signals in all track location and provision to your network system. It's all connect to your OME highways, your data highways, and communication lines to calculation with settings, guys. Okay? So what is that track location of? The brain. See the eye line? See the nose? See? Do you see it? Do you see the face? Do you guys see the face? Do you see the nose? Do you see the eye? See the nose? See the chin? You see how it all comes together? Okay? See it? Boom. Everything is done from inside you. Now that's a space that you have to create the line screen that sets positions, calculation lines, of center operation. Okay? So that's going to help you formulate accumulate, simulate, and put things together in that formation to its setting. So once you understand everything's inside of you, it's much easier to understand everything outside of you because the inner and the outer becomes one. And everything that you process through puts everything in positions, calculations, self-awareness is everything in a formation, in all track location, and all channel communication setting is all levels and separations of yin and yang. So center communication lines of travel. So it doesn't matter where it goes, it's always in yin and yang. It's in process of communication. It's in process of communication, right? So it doesn't matter how much intelligence you communicate with, it's always in balance. If it's not in balance, it's opposition. 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 Okay? But it's not opposition. I'm just showing you. Right? I say it's off balance. I say it is not balance. I'm in control. Right? So you understand position locations. Now it's all about understanding how to create the platforms if you get a communication line setting. Now this is where it comes into line rotations to a half pipe, sets lines of correlation, sets communications back in setting and back in balance. Sets lines of half pipe, let's go to that rotation spin, to wormhole and line setting and travel communication. Very powerful stuff. How you realign everything back in frame. Okay, Jips? So once you understand that, the center core system opens up through travels. That directs lines of communication setting all levels of rotation, surface, and traction. Okay, that puts everything back in center of operation into your flywheel, Chris, in set location. All right? So it's very interesting when you really understand the formations all levels, because what you're coming into is all identifications of you through face recognition. So if you're coming back to your own face recognitions, you have to understand in position locations calculations. Now, thought, what is the thought? I'm going to give you guys understanding. I'll give you multipass. Thought equals face recognition. Okay? Thought equals a face recognition, and that's what the team's coming into. So, General, are you telling me that the thoughts I'm in position of has a face? Yep. Congratulations, people. Now you understand the importance, how you have to really get control of your thoughts, and your thoughts control your actions, and your actions control your emotions. So what are thoughts now? Face recognition. And that's what you're coming into. Now, once you identify the thought itself and understand position's calculation of where it's coming from or where it's going, because it's already been there through the application of your alignments and application, it gets much easier. What does it have? Face recognition, E line communication center travels, endpoint line center interference. Face. What is a happy face? Emoji, right? So isn't that a recognition setting and alignments and high position locations? When you're setting emojis to each other, what does that say? It's traveling, right? Face, okay, in position. Now it's a frown. Face turning into a frown, right? Is that a correlation lines calculation position? It's off calculation, right? Balanced communication, off calculation. So when you're solar teching each other, you're doing the face recognition time now. So you guys have to understand that line communication setting. So all that information comes back in balance in line, center line, in line rotation, and set position calculations of face recognition time sequence and set calculation. Yin and yang, process communications. For triangulation line conditions involves the data. Process communication flywheel and trackification measure. Scales lines of balance lines and center line communication of point lines of high interference in positional location system and travel. All through balance, right? Everything's done inside your system. Now, once you understand that, then you understand the central of its core, right? But now you have to understand what you guys are coming into is thought equals face recognition. Okay, so you have to understand if it's its face, you have to understand what that is now, because it's self-aware of you. It's looking directly right at you. Do you understand what's going on through the conversation between each other, through telepathy, telekinesis, through telepathy? If you're not aware, you're not consciously aware of what you're looking at through face recognition, everything around you. So that basically gets you in a better understanding how a thought equals lines of high center interference and travel position location of face recognition. Okay, what do you think about that? That's going to help you in all lines of communication. Saying, wow, that's great. So what I have to do is just I have to self-identify that it's its own system. That makes a lot more sense now, because everything I'm looking around is nothing but a face. I realize that's what you come into in this formation. It's showing you. It's showing you your face. It's showing its face to you. That's what it's doing. Okay? Whether you identify that or not, it doesn't matter. It's all through frequencies. And the team will get that more and more as they go along with their simulation of its mapping system. It gets much easier, and then you understand, oh, wow, that's a face recognition of time. That's great. We just picked up in that position, so I'll get energy collaboration with that face recognition. And so on, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So you're coming back to all levels of your memory through face recognition. Through what? Your thoughts. So now you understand what thoughts are. And you have to control your thoughts, because if you can't control your thoughts, your thoughts are definitely not going to be controlling its actions to its emotions, right? Because you want to be in line setting. If you don't understand the information panel, this is you. Okay, this is you in set position, right? But then your direct in line connection is a face recognition intent, align interference of free location setting. It's looking at you like this, because you don't understand what's going on, even though you have a smile, right? So it's self-aware of everything that you see in its position through pi of generation. In pi, a generation, and time sequence, all lines of communication. All right? So if you understand why you're smiling and its self-awareness of what it is, so in self-awareness, it puts on a smile. Okay? So it's not about you. It's about you understanding everything around you as a face of recognition. Okay? You enter the outer line settings, the polarity of light, of coding, of the thoughts. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Jess. But you have to identify its own self-awareness of what you're looking at, especially when you guys are sending emojis to each other, hearts, hugs, and like, and do you know what you're doing through its consciousness of awareness? You do or you don't. But are you self-aware of what you're sending? No, because you're not aware of what you're doing. You're just solar texting each other, and you have no idea what you're doing. You open up portals, you open up stargates, you have no clue what you're doing. No clue what's going on, because you don't see it through face recognition. And if you do see it through face recognition, do you understand what that means through its self-awareness? Is the question. Okay? So this is going to help you guys to balance yourself more now, because the team is coming into that through face recognition. The direct line saying into calculated lines. The species are in a track location trying to understand what's going on with their digital imaging, how they come into the thoughts, how to control the thoughts, their thoughts and their actions of emotions. But the team is a higher level of the mind now through telepathy. So they have to really understand how to get in position of self-awareness of what they're seeing is its own face recognition. And once you see that face, you get energy of collaboration, and you build a relationship and a partnership. And it's incredible once you come into that, because every time you come into that face, it's going to give you abundance and manifestation, because you took time to get to know its operation of its intelligence. Hooah. All right, so signify and correlation lines of attractions, position lines of colors, lines of screens. Now, direct lines of communication is really understanding how to use the truth lines. Let's set line communication line interference of 3-line position. Sets communication lines highest interference of 3-line position and a 4-track location. All right. Sets lines of platforms 1, 2, and 3. Sets communication lines positive. Sets location into positive, and we in line rotation of negative line communication. Positive, positive, negative. 3-track line position. Positive. Sets location into positive. Sets location of negative line communication of program. All right. So try to see its lines of calculation set in position in UFO, track location 1 line provision, and the cycle line communication setting crop circle set location. It's all 3 platforms in position to going in the same direction, positive and negative. Doesn't matter how many times you override line condition setting, but you bring it back in center of operational line setting and realms of communication setting and portals of communication system and travel. Balance. Okay. So it doesn't matter how many times you go through positive and negative, at least you're self-aware of what you're doing with your letters, numbers, thoughts, and your signals, application, your binaries, or anything through your connections of your binary communications or your transistors or your pi, your correlation lines, and track lines. You know exactly what a half pipe is, right? But is the half pipe aware of you? Yes. Are you aware of the half pipe? No. Do you want to be aware of the half pipe? Yes. So if you're self-aware that it is a half pipe with its own system, you're ready to go. What does it want to do with attraction? It wants to understand you through collaboration. So what are you doing? Building a friendship and a partnership with its identity of position. Ooh-ah. You come together. You come together of yin and yang. Okay? It's very powerful, guys. Very, very powerful. You work together. You're in formations. But you are identification. This is the face that you connect with. This is the face of recognition of what you're connecting to. Are you aware of the face? Are you aware of the face? Because if you're not, you're coming into the abyss. Okay? So there you go through track location line setting. It operates the cycles, high position, calculus modified. So if everybody's seen the abyss with Ed Harris, you understand what I'm talking about. So everything is self-aware of you. And that's what you're coming back to. That's interesting, General. So you're saying that if I get into a friendship of myself and I start to build that relationship with myself, I start to recognize things all around me of self-awareness. And then I realize, wow. So if I'm in self-awareness, that means I'm going to see everything of its awareness, of consciousness, of face recognition. Face recognition. Then you just have to build a collaboration. Hoo-ah. Okay? Powerful, isn't it? Right? That's the most powerful thing I can give you guys. Now's the time to really understand. Really wake up to that, to its self-awareness of everything around you. Is consciously aware of everything you do. In all positions, calculation. Okay? See you in 5.